We mistakenly believe that there isn't a villain in the film Encanto, but I recently watched a video by a film theorist that revealed that Dolores is actually its true villain. We know that Dolores' power is that she can literally hear everything, as demonstrated by the fact that she even tells Mirabel that she can hear Luis' eye twitching. If she could hear an eye twitching, then she must have heard the house begin to shake. She also didn't defend Mirabel when she tried to warn the entire family, demonstrating that Dolores wanted the miracle to perish. She even acknowledged that she knew that Bruno lived there. The most bizarre thing is that when we see Mirabel create the family door in the end, everyone on the door is smiling except for Dolores. Dolores knew that if Mirabel found Bruno, they would be able to fix the miracle. If you look up Dolores' name, it literally means pains. We also know that she is extremely envious of Isabella because she likes Mariano. Now what do you think? What if I told you that Rapunzel from Tangled is actually a villain? We all know that Rapunzel marries Flynn at the conclusion of Tangled. Flynn also chops off her hair, which makes it brown, but following Tangled, we are unsure of what happens to her. Nonetheless, we may presume that she is a parent. According to a Google search on Rapunzel, she gave birth to 2 daughters, whose names were Anastasia and Dracella. Do you know the identities of her daughters? Anastasia and Dracella are also the daughters of the evil stepmother in Cinderella. Since Rapunzel turns cruel and evil after Tangled, it stands to reason that she would eventually become the evil stepmother in Cinderella. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more. Have you ever heard the Squidward theory? There's a theory that suggests Squidward from SpongeBob is merely SpongeBob's hired bodyguard. Now, the theory suggests that Squidward was actually hired by SpongeBob's parents to watch over him and act as his guardian while they were living apart from SpongeBob. It also suggests that the reason that SpongeBob and Squidward can afford homes at a minimum wage salary is because both of their houses are being paid for by SpongeBob's parents. This may help to explain why Squidward is constantly irritated with SpongeBob because he was literally hired to watch over him and put up with whatever he does. Now what do you think? Comment down below. The true villain in Peter Pan. According to a theory, Tinkerbell is actually the ultimate antagonist and mastermind behind Peter Pan, not Peter Pan or Captain Hook, who you might never assume to be the villain in the story. Therefore, in line with Tales of the Origin, the malevolent immortal entities known as fairies and pixies kidnap young children. Since we know from the original Peter Pan story that if the Lost Boys got too old, Peter Pan would kill them, the theory goes that Tinkerbell made a deal with Peter Pan to become immortal in exchange for kidnapping kids, taking them to Neverland, and killing them. Tinkerbell makes Peter do all the dirty work, and maybe even the dirty deeds themselves. Tinkerbell despises Wendy and Peter Pan because she doesn't want Wendy to persuade Peter to stop abducting and killing kids and then possibly fall in love with him. Now what do you think? Comment down below. Have you heard the Lavender Pokemon theme song? There is a theory that the Lavender Town theme in Pokemon causes people to commit self-destruction. According to this theory, when Pokemon was first released in Japan, the original Lavender Town theme was made with binaural beats that affect how you feel after listening this song. It is claimed that this caused some children to experience depression and even consider kill themselves. Since then, Pokemon has replaced the original Lavender Town audio. This is by far the darkest Pokemon conspiracy I heard, and it wouldn't be difficult to see how they might affect our emotions and our attitude. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. When the 1937 film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released, it was a huge hit, and was the first of now many princesses for Disney. We are all familiar with the story. It's about Snow White living with her jealous stepmother who orders her huntsman to kill the princess, but unable to face killing Snow White, he lets her free in the forest where she lives with the seven dwarfs. When the evil queen finds out the Snow White is still alive, she possesses an old hag to give Snow White a poison apple. When she takes a bite, she's thought to have died and lays motionless until a prince finds her and kisses her, bringing Snow White back to life, and they live happily ever after. It's a lovely story, but the original has an alternative, pretty gory ending. The original Snow White story was written by the Brothers Grimm in 1812 and was first published in German. It shares pretty much all the similarities to the Disney film, except for when Snow White is poisoned by the apple, the prince does not kiss her. And do you have an idea where the hands came from in the Addams Family? Therefore, it is never revealed in the show where the hand came from, not even in the Addams Family. The studio that created this film, Evil Dead, also owns Wednesday in the Addams Family. A character by the name of Ash has a hand possession. As a result, he chops off his hand and replaces it with something like a chainsaw. But his hand ultimately disappears and murders someone. The hand was only shown once more in the movie Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2's events happened in 1986. She claims in Wednesday that she has no idea where it originated. If the hand's events are, it would have been before she was born when the incident occurred and the hand made its way to the family. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more. Have you ever heard the Phineas and Ferb theory? Phineas and Ferb were nothing but Candace's imagination. She couldn't deal with Phineas' death, so she built an imaginary world where he was still alive and playing with Ferb. Ferb was born with disabilities and as a result, couldn't talk or do much. She imagined both of the brothers going on adventures together and creating huge things in their backyard, and that's why her mom couldn't see them during anything, because it was all in Candace's imagination. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more. Have you ever heard the Courage the Cowardly Dog true story? There's a place in New Mexico called the Middle of Nowhere. According to tradition, an old couple who lived alone and had a dog saw many bizarre and odd occurrences. They claimed to have seen a bizarre skinwalker-like monster one night. The family had disappeared under mysterious circumstances after this was reported to the police. But their dog was abandoned. From this tale, the character of Courage the Cowardly Dog was based. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more. Have you ever heard the Powerpuff Girls theory? According to this theory, the girls are actually just normal children who pretend to be superheroes. The girls' father, Professor Utonium, isn't actually a scientist at all. In fact, it is believed that he is simply an ordinary pharmacist who makes medicine in his basement for a company. This is the reason as to why the girls are never allowed into the basement. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more.